The sun dipped low over the San Pedro plains, spilling red across the dust and sagebrush, casting a glow that made even outlaws seem sacred. Jack Thornton pulled his hat down against the glare. His horse snorted, restless beneath him, and he couldn't fault the beast. These lands held a silence not the calm kind, but one heavy with unseen eyes watching from the ridges. Jack had been wandering for months, a man without a home, his name feeling like a stranger's. In the last town, folks whispered about Hema gunslinger turned shadow, carrying guilt like a second skin. He'd tried to bury his past under miles of dust and whiskey, but it stuck to him. A crow's cry overhead drew his gaze to movement by the dry creek bed below. At first, he thought it was just cloth snagged in the mesquite. Then the wind shifted, and the shape stirred. He dismounted smoothly, boots crunching softly on the earth. His mare, Phantom, pawed the ground, uneasy. "Easy, girl," Jack murmured, his voice rough from days of silence. The figure was small girl or woman, sprawled like a broken toy in the dirt. Dark hair fanned across her shoulders, tangled with dust and blood. A shallow gash ran along her ribs, her dress torn. From where he stood, Jack could see the faint rise and fall of her chest. Barely alive, but alive. "Damn it all," he muttered. This was treacherous land. A white man kneeling over one of their own could mean death. Still, Jack knelt. Her skin was warm under his fingers as he checked her pulse. She stirred faintly, whispering in a language he didn't know. "You're all right," he said, though it was a lie. He grabbed a clean rag from his saddlebag and pressed it to her wound. Blood stained the cloth bright red. "You're not dying here. Not if I can help it." Jack lifted her gently, her weight light as a feather, her head lolling against his shoulder. He swung into the saddle, cradling her before him. Phantom shifted under the extra load as he rode hard for the canyon edge where he'd camped the night before, his eyes scanning the horizon. Every shadow felt like a threat. He half expected an arrow to cut through the air, the sting of Comanche justice for trespassing. By the time he reached the fire ring, night had fallen. Stars gleamed cold above. Jack laid her on his bedroll, fetched water, and cleaned the wound as best he could. She didn't stir, but her breathing steadied. When he lit a small fire, her face came into sharp, focus-high cheekbones, sun-worn skin, a delicate necklace of bone beads at her throat. Even in sleep, she looked fierce, like a hawk felled by a hunter's shot. "Who are you?" Jack whispered to the flames. "And what trouble's chasing you?" She didn't answer. The night dragged on. Jack sat against a rock, rifle across his knees. He'd been here before, tending strangers on the edge of death, watching over them like some repentant saint, chasing redemption that never came. It never worked. At dawn, soft movement woke him. Her eyes, amber like whiskey in sunlight, were open, fixed on him with wary intensity. "Where?" she rasped. "You're safe," he said softly. "Found you by the creek. Thought you'd prefer a fire to being coyote supper." Her lips tightened. "Why help?" Jack hesitated. "Didn't seem right to leave you." Her voice was hoarse. "My people feel kill you." He gave a small, bitter smile. "Wouldn't be the first to try." She shifted, wincing as pain flared through her side. Jack moved to steady her, but she flinched, gripping the blanket tighter. "Don't touch me," she snapped. "All right," he said, raising his hands, palms out. "Ain't looking for trouble, little sparrow." "Don't call me that." "What should I call you then?" Silence stretched like a taut wire. Finally, she said, "Lila." "It means night." "Night," Jack murmured. "Suits you." Her eyes narrowed. "You speak Apache?" "Only enough to get myself in trouble." A flicker of something surprise, maybe amusement, crossed her face before fading. She looked away, staring at the embers like they held all the answers. 2 days passed in near silence. Lila spoke only when spoken to, ate little, slept fitfully, and watched with the tension of a cornered animal. Jack hunted rabbits and brought her water, not expecting gratitude. He didn't deserve it. On the third night, a storm rolled in. Rain lashed the canyon, thunder cracking like gunfire. Lila shivered under her blanket. Jack hesitated, then slid closer, draping his coat over her. "Not trying to offend," he said quietly. "Just don't want you freezing." For the first time, she didn't pull away. Morning brought a sound that chilled Jack's blood, hoofbeats, dozens of them. Lila's eyes snapped open. "My people," she whispered, voice trembling. You must leave. I'm not running. Jack checked his rifle, knowing it wouldn't save him against a war party. They'll kill you. He met her gaze, seeing fear and something else, something he couldn't name, burning in her eyes. Then let them. Before she could respond, riders crested the ridge, 30 men, faces painted in war colors, feathers whipping in the wind. At their head rode a tall, broad-shouldered chief with eyes like cold iron. The Apache surrounded the camp in a silent, watchful circle. Lila cried out weakly in her language, words tumbling fast and urgent. The chief dismounted and strode toward Jack. You saved her? He asked in English, voice deep as the canyon. Jack nodded once. Then, by sacred tradition, the chief said gravely, she belongs to you. Jack's jaw tightened. I didn't save her to own her. This ain't about ownership. It's about honor. He turned to Lila, her amber eyes wide and shimmering in the firelight. Do you want this? He asked softly. She hesitated, then gave a faint nod. Jack exhaled, not realizing he'd been holding his breath. All right then. The chief's eyes softened. Your family now? Protect her well, or answer to us. As the war party melted into the shadows, Lila leaned against Jack's shoulder. You smell like smoke, she murmured. And you smell like trouble, he said, his voice breaking into a low, surprised laugh. For the first time in years, Jack felt the weight in his chest lighten, not gone, but bearable, as if life had finally offered him a hand up from the dust.